Archie Manning, 101 yards lost on sacks, October 28, 1984. It's October 1984. Soldier Field. Wind chill. Miserable. The New Orleans Saints are visiting the Chicago Bears, and Archie Manning is about to experience what happens when your offensive line takes a personal day. On paper, this was just another game. In reality, it became the most painful geometry lesson in NFL history. 101 yards lost on sacks. First quarter, early drive. Manning drops back. Immediately swarmed. Nowhere to go. Down for 5 yards. No big deal. A warm-up sack. Happens to everyone. A few plays later, here comes Richard Dent, cutting through the line like a buzzsaw. Archie backpedals, stumbles, loses 11 more yards. Total so far, 16. The Saints offense is already halfway back to Louisiana. Second quarter, another snap, another jailbreak. Manning spins, jukes, and somehow makes it worse. Dragged down for 14 more yards. That's 30 lost. The commentators stop calling it a pocket. They start calling it a crime scene. Third quarter, the Bears blitz again. Manning takes 2 steps, looks up, and sees 4 helmets closing in. Sack number 4, 18 yards lost. We're at 48 total. The Saints playbook now reads like a survival manual. Late third, another drop back, another panic roll. Down again, 12 more yards. Total 60. You can almost hear him questioning his career choices in real time. Fourth quarter. By now, the Bears are toying with him. Manning fades right, then left, then straight down. 19-yard loss. The total jumps to 79. The camera catches him staring at the scoreboard like it personally offended him. Final insult. One more snap, one more jailbreak. Archie tries to escape, runs backward like he's reversing a highlight reel, and collapses under a wall of blue jerseys. 22 more yards lost. Final total, 101 yards. 101 yards lost, all by one man, in one game. That's an entire field's worth of progress, in the wrong direction. The Bears would finish 10-6 that season, led by one of the most feared defenses in football history. The Saints? Well, they finished with a quarterback who set a record no one will ever break, mostly because nobody else is willing to risk the psychological damage. Archie Manning didn't just lose yards that day. He lost hope, oxygen, and maybe a little faith in humanity. And yet, at least he gained something. A record that proves football isn't always about how far you go forward. Sometimes it's about how far you're willing to fall backward. Up next, the only team in NFL history that finished an entire game without a single first down. Because if you can't move the ball, you might as well make history doing nothing. The 1966 Denver Broncos, 0 first downs. The Denver Broncos of the 1960s weren't the orange and blue powerhouses you know today. Back then, they were an underfunded, overmatched AFL team playing in a minor league baseball stadium with mustard yellow jerseys and hand-me-down helmets. On September 3rd, 1966, they opened the season against the Houston Oilers, a good team with real players, real funding, and apparently, a real offense. The Broncos? Not so much. Quarterback Mickey Slaughter, yes, that's his actual name, and yes, it aged poorly, lined up behind an offensive line that might as well have been made of tissue paper. The game started normally enough. 3 plays, punt, no big deal. But then it kept happening. 3 plays, punt, 3 plays, punt, 3 plays, interception. By halftime, the Broncos had 0 first downs and negative 11 yards. The Oilers' defense didn't just control the game, they barely had to walk onto the field. In the second half, Denver tried everything. Draw plays, quick passes, prayer. Nothing worked. They finished with negative 7 total yards of offense, 2 turnovers, and no first downs. Not one single first down. The only points they scored came from a defensive fumble recovery, meaning the offense contributed nothing to their own scoreboard. It remains the only game in professional football history where a team never once moved the chains. To put that in perspective, the average NFL offense gets around 20 first downs per game. The Broncos got the same number you would get, sitting on your couch. Their head coach, Max Speedy, reportedly called it the most humiliating performance I've ever seen. The press called it an offense frozen in time. But the record still stands. 0 first downs, untouched for almost 60 years. And it'll probably stay that way. Because even in today's NFL, with backup quarterbacks and collapsing teams, somebody eventually stumbles into a penalty or a broken play that moves the chains once. Denver didn't. They proved that sometimes doing absolutely nothing can still make you unforgettable. And speaking of unforgettable, our next record belongs to a quarterback who managed to fumble the ball every single week for almost 3 months straight. Kerry Collins, 11 straight games with a fumble, 2001. In 2001, Kerry Collins was the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. Big market, big expectations, big gloves. And that last part, it didn't help, because over an 11-game stretch that season, Collins managed to fumble in every single one. 11 games, 11 cough-ups. The streak started innocently. A blindside hit against the Saints. No big deal. Every quarterback gets stripped once in a while. But then, it kept happening. October, November, December, week after week, the ball hit the turf like it was allergic to him. Giants fans started holding their breath every time he dropped back. The broadcast booth started keeping count on air. And there it is, Another one. By mid-season, you could set your watch to it. Collins would line up, feel pressure, panic, and thump, football gone. Sometimes it was a blindside strip, sometimes a bad handoff. Once, he just lost the snap entirely. Over those 11 games, he racked up 15 total fumbles, losing 7 of them. Every Sunday looked like a different version of the same nightmare. What makes it weirder? Collins wasn't a rookie. He'd already been to a Super Bowl. He knew how to handle pressure. But that year, the pocket might as well have been quicksand, and the stat kept building. Week 6, another Week 7, 2 in 1 quarter. Week 10, fumbled the snap on the goal line. Week 13, fumbled twice, recovered none. By the end of December, the streak hit 11 straight games, the longest run of fumbling futility in NFL history. The Giants finished 7-9, and Collins' name was carved into the weirdest corner of the record book. Most quarterbacks want to be remembered for poise. Kerry Collins became the patron saint of not again. And if you think fumbling once a week is bad, imagine doing it 8 times in one game and still winning. The 1967 Green Bay Packers, 8 turnovers in a win, turnovers lose football games. That's not opinion, it's math. In NFL history, teams that turn the ball over 4 or more times lose over 90% of the time. So 8? That's suicide. Unless you're the 1967 Green Bay Packers, a team so good they apparently couldn't lose even when doing everything possible to lose. November 12th, 1967. Lambeau Field, Packers versus Bears. 2 teams that hated each other long before hating each other was cool. The Packers were defending champions, heavy favorites, and still somehow managed to gift wrap an entire afternoon of chaos. Turnover 1, early first quarter. Bart Starr drops back. Pressure from Doug Atkins stripped clean. Bears recover at midfield. The score? 0-0. Green Bay starts the day by testing how much pain their defense can tolerate. Turnover 2. Minutes later, Starr throws high. Intercepted by Richie Petitbon. Bears capitalize with a short field goal. Chicago leads 3-0. Lombardi's offense looks allergic to the football. Turnover 3. Starr forces another pass. Second interception. Score still 3-0, but the Packers are giving the ball away faster than concessions sell beer. Turnover 4. Second quarter. Fullback Jim Grabowski coughs up the ball at the Bears' 30. Chicago drives, scores a touchdown. It's 10-0 Bears, and Lombardi's jaw has officially entered a different zip code. Turnover 5. Just before halftime. Starr is sacked, loses the ball again. Bears recover, but miss a field goal. At halftime, Green Bay trails 10-3, despite committing 5 turnovers. In the locker room, Lombardi doesn't give a speech. He gives an exorcism. Turnover 6. Third quarter. Running back Elijah Pitts fumbles on a sweep. The ball bounces 20 yards backward before Chicago recovers. Score still 10-3. The Packers' offensive stat line reads like a confession letter. Turnover 7. Late third. Starr throws his 3rd interception. Bears take over near midfield. And yet, Chicago can't do anything with it. Their offense is so bad, the Packers keep getting reprieves. Turnover 8. Fourth quarter. Grabowski again. Fumble number 2. At this point, Green Bay has turned it over 8 times. Most teams are blown out by 30 by now. Instead, they're tied, 10-10, because the Bears' offense, bless them, coughed up 6 turnovers of their own. The game looked less like football and more like 2 clumsy magicians trying to make the ball disappear. With under 2 minutes left, kicker Don Chandler nails a field goal. Final score, Packers 13, Bears 10, 8 turnovers, and a win. It's the most turnovers ever committed by a team that still walked away victorious, and no one has matched it since. Every other team that's tried has lost. Every one. Green Bay's 1967 meltdown proved 2 things. First, even legends have terrible days. And second, if you're going to be a disaster, be a historical one. The Packers would go on to win the Super Bowl that season, because apparently nothing, not even physics or probability, could stop Lombardi's team from winning ugly. Reggie Hodges, the longest run by a punter. 68 yards, 2010. Punters are supposed to kick the ball. That's literally the job description. Catch it, drop it, kick it, jog off. It's not glamorous, but it's safe. Unless you're Reggie Hodges, Cleveland Browns punter 2010, who decided to ignore every rule of physics, probability, and special teams protocol. October 24th, 2010. Browns versus Saints in the Superdome. First quarter. Cleveland lines up to punt. Hodges catches the snap. Clean. Starts his motion. Normal. Then all hell breaks loose. The Saints' edge rusher bursts through the line. Hodges pulls the ball back. No time to kick. He tucks it. Runs. 5 yards. 10 yards. First down line in sight. He should slide. He doesn't. He keeps running. 20 yards. 30. The coverage team turns into blockers. The crowd goes from mocking laughter to open disbelief. 40 yards. 50. The punter is now sprinting into open field. You can almost hear the Saints' defense collectively wondering if this is real life. He crosses midfield. 60 yards now, chased by cornerbacks who look as confused as the announcers. Finally, he's dragged down 68 yards later. 68 yards, the longest run by a punter in NFL history. To put that in perspective, most punters never run more than 5 yards total in their entire careers. Hodges did it in one burst of pure panic and adrenaline. The Browns went on to win that game 30-17, and Hodges' dash became instant legend. The highlight looks wrong. A punter shouldn't have vision, speed, or the audacity to turn into a running back. But on that day, Reggie Hodges became the NFL's most unlikely playmaker. The record still stands, and probably always will, because punters don't train for this. They're supposed to kick. He decided to run, and for 68 improbable yards, it actually worked. Next up, the quarterback who made "just throw it away" sound like revolutionary advice, Ryan Tannehill, and the single worst play of negative yardage in modern football. Ryan Tannehill, most yards lost on a single play, 38 yards, 2015. It's week 9 of the 2015 season. The Miami Dolphins are playing the Washington football team, and quarterback Ryan Tannehill is about to accidentally invent a new genre of slapstick football. Midway through the first quarter, Tannehill takes the snap from the 50. Play action fake? Nobody's buying it. The defense collapses the pocket instantly. He spins right, then left, then somehow further back. He looks upfield. Nothing. He pumps once, changes direction again. By the time he finally plants his foot to throw, he's standing on his own 12-yard line. The ball comes loose. Fumble, scramble, chaos. Bodies pile up. The whistle blows. When the dust clears, the drive has gone backward 38 yards. One play, minus 38. The Dolphins started the possession near midfield and ended it closer to their own red zone. To put that in perspective, most drives don't even gain 38 yards before punting. Miami lost that much in 6 seconds of pure panic. You can almost hear the offensive line yelling, "Throw it away," as Tannehill orbits further from the line of scrimmage. By the end of the play, he's closer to the team logo on his own helmet than the first down marker. That moment still stands as the longest negative play in modern NFL history. It's so bad it became a teaching clip, literally used in quarterback camps as the what not to do reel. Football analysts called it improvisation gone wrong. Fans called it performance art. Tannehill called it over. And yet, that 38-yard disaster lives forever in the record book, a monument to the idea that sometimes doing something is worse than doing nothing at all. Next up, if you think losing yardage is painful, imagine losing discipline. 23 penalties, 200 yards, and somehow still winning the game. The Oakland Raiders, 23 penalties, 200 yards, 2016. Discipline wins football games. Or, if you're the 2016 Oakland Raiders, maybe it just slows you down a little. October 30th, 2016. Raiders versus Buccaneers in Tampa. The Raiders arrive 5-2, flying high. By the end of the day, they'd committed 23 penalties for 200 yards, the most in NFL history. That's the equivalent of handing your opponent 2 full football fields for free. Penalty number 1. False start, first play of the game. Score 0-0. John Gruden, then in the broadcast booth, just chuckles. He's seen this movie before. Penalty number 5. Holding on a 20-yard gain. Erased. Score still 0-0, but the offense already looks allergic to momentum. Penalty number 9. Defensive pass interference. Buccaneers tie it 10-10. The secondary looks at the refs like they've been personally betrayed. Penalty number 13. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the sideline. Even the coaches are getting flagged now. Score 17-17. The crowd starts chanting "Flag Bowl." Penalty number 17. Another hold. Another drive killer. Oakland loses 10 yards, then 5 more on the next snap. Total penalty yardage, 155. The Raiders are committing more yards in infractions than on offense. Penalty number 21. Delay of game. Yes, they even managed to break time. By the end of regulation, the Raiders had 23 flags and 200 yards in penalties, a league record that still stands. And yet the scoreboard read 24-24. Because for every mistake, Derek Carr kept hitting Amari Cooper downfield like nothing was wrong. Over time, Carr drives the Raiders 75 yards, hitting Seth Roberts for a 41-yard game winner. Final score, Raiders 30, Buccaneers 24. 200 penalty yards, 23 flags, and a win. No other team in NFL history has ever reached 200 penalty yards and survived. Normally, that much self-sabotage guarantees a loss. For the Raiders, it just fit the brand. Chaotic, reckless, and somehow still victorious. That day, they didn't just break a record, they broke the rule of logic that says discipline matters. For Oakland, rebellion was the game plan. Next, from a team that couldn't stop breaking rules to a franchise that once broke physics, the 1979 Seattle Seahawks, who managed to finish an entire game with negative yardage. The Seattle Seahawks, -7 total yards in an entire game, 1979. Football is about moving forward, inches, yards, drives. But on November 4th, 1979, the Seattle Seahawks proved you can play 60 full minutes of professional football and somehow end up going backward. They faced the Los Angeles Rams, a top-5 defense led by Jack Youngblood, the kind of player who made quarterbacks question their life choices. The Rams' defensive line wasn't just good, they were biblical. Every snap felt like a natural disaster. Seattle's offense? Quarterback Jim Zorn, running back Sherman Smith, and a line that, judging by the results, was built entirely out of screen doors. First quarter, sack, punt, sack, punt. The Seahawks managed negative rushing yards before most fans had found their seats. Halftime score, Rams 17, Seahawks 0. Seattle had 15 total yards and not a single sign of life. Third quarter, another sack, another fumble. The Rams' front four were living in the backfield rent-free. Fourth quarter, desperation passes, incompletions, more sacks. By the end of the game, Seattle's final stat line read like a typo, -7 total yards of offense. That's not rushing. That's everything. Passing, running, the whole operation. 7 yards in the wrong direction. Jim Zorn completed just 4 passes. The Seahawks had more punts, 9, than completions, and their longest play from scrimmage was a 9-yard pass, which was immediately erased by a 10-yard sack. Final score, Rams 24, Seahawks 0. Seattle didn't just lose, they ceased to exist offensively. It remains the lowest total yardage ever recorded in an NFL game. No team before or since has managed to produce less while technically participating. To this day, -7 yards stands as the bottom of football's ocean floor, proof that even in the most competitive league in the world, you can still do absolutely nothing. Spectacularly. And that's what makes it perfect for this list, because every bizarre record we've seen, from punters running wild, to quarterbacks fumbling weekly, to teams drowning in penalties, all lead back to the same truth. In the NFL, it's not just about greatness. It's about surviving the moments that make you unforgettable. For all the wrong reasons. Football gives us speed, strength, and spectacle. But moments like these show what really matters. These aren't just players. They're fathers, sons, neighbors, and friends. The kind of people who run toward danger when everyone else runs away. If you want more stories of NFL greatness and heart, hit subscribe, drop a like, and stick around. The next chapter of football history is already waiting.